one, and we're live. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I am well. Thanks
Oh,
for having me on.
you're welcome. Everyone, this is my friend. This is Kathy, and she's your title girl. She's
I
my
am.
title girl. And today we are starting our first session of Title Tuesday.
We
And
are.
we're going to be talking either every week or every other week about title subjects and why title companies are so important in both in the real estate industry, or if you're just going to sell your house without a real estate agent, why it's better to go through a title company
Oh, yeah.
and get all your paperwork done through them. And you can go straight to Kathy. You can go to right to Fidelity. But specifically today, we're going to talk about pre-title and why it's important to order that. And I think both, even if you're not don't have a real estate agent, you can do that, right? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other subject we're going to talk about today, because I've had issues with it already, is quiet title. So
Yeah.
those are really big things.
You've had some doozies lately. You've got thrown into the deep end lately.
Yes, I I was just saying to Kathy before we came on, I'm like, we're gonna go throw you into the pool with that life jacket, and that's pretty much exactly how I've been in real estate lately with
Yeah.
a lot of the transactions I've had. And you know what? Bring it. That's what I say. Bring it, because you can only grow and get better and learn from those things that challenge you, right?
Yeah. 100%. Easy doesn't change us at
No,
all.
no, no.
At all.
Complacency doesn't change us. It
Yeah.
just lets us
No.
stay stagnant. So.
Yeah. 100%.
So, because this is our very first time doing video, Kathy, please share a little bit about your background and, why you're entitled.
Great question. My mom was a real estate agent growing up. I always joke that the parties were at my house on school nights. Thanks, Mom. So never in a million years did I think I would end up in this industry. But it's been an amazing fit. So I started off actually as a home warranty rep. I worked for 210, the home buyer's warranty, for about 8 years. Got out of the business for a little while. I was a little burnt out. And then ended up working for another large underwriter for about 6 years. And I've been at Fidelity for 4.5. So I've got a decade of title under my belt. And I started in the business in 2002. So, yeah, I
Wow.
love it. I think I love my job. And I'm super grateful I just have an awesome team that I get to work with. The management team supports me. If I call, they pick up their phone. And anyone in any sales position, when you need help, and help's there, it makes you be a savage, basically. And so I think um, how good I am is a direct result of the support that I get and the team that I have, because I'm the tip of the spear, and they are the backbone. So I'm really, really, really blessed with that. So working at Fidelity allows me to have a ton of awesome tech tools. As we're going to be talking about, I've tagged myself Your Title Girl, and we're going to be showing yourtitlegirl.info, which is a resource page that Jesse, the admin rescuer, set up for me. So it's mobile optimized. So I know you're going to be sharing that. And then look forward to you throwing me in the deep end and doing these lives and getting education out there, because I know you've said it to me. I feel really strongly that although we're all salespeople and we love making money, right? That's why we're in sales. The intrinsic motivator for me is helping my agents. I'm really, really passionate about it. And I don't know, it's super, super important to me to be a value and to be responsive. So I'm just super fortunate for the position that I have and to be in this industry with you guys.
And the thing that I love about you, Kathy, is you're super, super authentic. Like, that is what draws me to you. And I've said that in the past. I've said that to you. You're super
Thanks.
authentic in who you are. And although there are times where, we may not align on certain things, it's okay. Like, we love
Yeah,
each other
we
regardless of
do.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
The world in general just needs to make sure that we understand that thing, though.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
so let's get into it without,
Okay.
muddying up waters with
Yeah,
like, so
yeah.
positive things. Let's really get into our topics for today,
Okay,
which is pre-title and
bring it
then
on.
so, with pre-title, can you explain why it is necessary for agents to order pre-title, and then I'll go into a couple of stories that I
Yeah,
have that
yeah.
kind of is another reason why I wanted to talk about this.
Yeah. So the majority of title companies will encourage their agents to do what we call pre-title, which means as soon as you get the listing contract that you're letting your title partner know to get that title work ordered, and then you get a commitment. The title commitment is the pre-insurance, and it's going to give you a heads up of, okay, I met with Bob Smith and Tony Robbins, pulling a name out, who the heck is Tony Robbins? Like, it's going to let you know if there's other owners out there, if there's an ex-wife on title, if maybe there's a deceased person that was on title. And on title means ownership. And then it's going to give you a heads up on anything that could literally stop a closing. So there's stuff that then you're going to be able to have an educated conversation with your seller about maybe what they need, the documents they're going to have to gather. Maybe they don't have it. Maybe somebody's passed away and they're going to need probate. I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder on the examples that you were going to show, Sheila, but they're just, um, it needs to be done so that, say you have a buyer that comes in hot and it's a cash offer and they want to close in a week. Oh, well, that seller has a lender that takes 5 to 7 days for the payoff. Most lenders, we can get a payoff authorization so that we can close that mortgage, pay off that mortgage, discharge that mortgage. We get them quickly, but of course, there's always one or two lenders that are more difficult to deal with. I mean, there can be a variety of things, but I'll let you dig into what your examples are. I mean, it can be the homeowners association, and the one person that's in charge of the homeowners association is in Italy for a month. Like, little things like that end up being huge things.
So the one really big example, and it was really the first one that I was like, and I had known to order pre-title. That was part of a training I had when I first got my license. And I would always order pre-title, but for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, I can wait on this one or whatever. So
Yeah.
um and it really came back to bite me because this happened to be an estate situation, and I didn't order pre-title. And when I and we had it on the market, and then when I ordered title and we had it under contract,
Mhm.
I I found out that there was a lien on title because he had bought doors and windows for the house, and because he didn't pay, the person had died, and so nothing got resolved from that. So there was a lien on the house because it hadn't gotten paid, and that had to be cleared before
Yeah.
title was clear.
Right.
And here
It's
I'm
what
like
we
in a panic.
oftentimes, yeah, it's what we oftentimes call a cloud on title. But that's just, if you ever hear that phrase, that's an example of a cloud on title. Yeah, not clean, because the goal is to have clean, marketable title.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so what transpired after that is the fact that um, once we found that out, well, then the lawyers had to go to the company and negotiate a lower payoff price because there was literally nothing in the estate to pay
Right.
this
Yeah.
company. So there had to be negotiation. And this was also during the pandemic, which was like added another layer of difficulty,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So what should have been a very quick closing ended up taking at least, I think it was like a month longer, a month and a half longer, because we had to get this other situation resolved. And had I done pre-title on it, I would have already known it, and I would have already
Yeah.
had the lawyers working on it before I even got it under
Yeah.
contract. Thankfully, the buyer stuck with us and we ended up closing with him, but it took a long, long time.
Yeah.
And God bless the agent on the other side as well. Her and I are now friends.
That's
Um,
awesome.
she stuck with it too. She was,
Yeah.
very understanding and patient.
Understanding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
the majority of the title companies are going to be proponents of pre-title. I've heard that there's a couple that don't like it because what if it doesn't close? I think with our market, everything that goes on because of inventory ends up closing. But um, yeah, you need to interview title companies if your title company won't do pre-title. And it's literally my clients know that if they wanted to, they could text me the address and I'll start it. But it's a
yeah.
simple email with the address. So it's not a painstaking process to start title work.
Exactly. So, so the next topic that we're going to talk about, and if anybody has any questions, please make sure that you, either contact myself or contact, Kathy, at www.yourtitlegirl.info. Yourtitlegirl.info is her website. You can reach out to either one of us and ask us questions. We are
Yep.
so happy to be
And
educated.
I'm always a text or call away. So my cell phone number is 586-292-8436. And I don't work 9 to 5, just like you guys don't. So if it's a question somebody's asking you, I'm all about earning your business and your trust if you're not a client yet and helping you. So there, even if I'm not involved in a deal, feel free to ask.
Yep. So the next one we're going to talk about is quiet title, and that's one I never heard of until I got smacked in the face with it.
You did too. Sorry.
I I got hit really hard with it. And like I said, the more that you challenge yourself and get your feet in and jump in, the more you get challenged with things, and then you're going to push through. And we've all, in this whole process, Kathy, we've all learned something from this and what we need to do to have a lesson learned to what we need to have later on, right? For
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah.
um, which is quiet titles. So, Kathy, you want to explain kind of what
Yeah,
quiet title?
so I guess I want to go backwards. So just a second, because when we were just talking about marketable title and the title commitments, there are things that we are looking for. Obviously, who owns the property, making sure it's the correct address, and title ensures the legal description, not the address. So when an agent sends us maybe a typo, or it could be on a title company's end where the address is typed wrong, we have to re-pull it because it's the legal description. But the quiet title comes up where there's something on the title commitment that that can't be cleared. And so I feel you did throw me in the end. Get back
It's
on.
okay. It's okay. Regroup.
Back on here. It's so much easier when I'm talking to you instead of talking to myself.
Well, I will stay on if it
I'm like,
helps. But
oh,
can we?
I'm even blushing. Like I'm talking to myself. It feels so goofy. Anyway, I am my quirky, authentic self sometimes. And
I
that is
love you.
an
I
example.
love you.
So look, they match. My earrings match my face. Um, so okay, so with quiet title, in Sheila had two deals back to back that had teeth on them, one of them being quiet title. So it's something that the title company is not able just to clear.
Mhm.
And then we need to call the agent, or if it was a seller that wasn't represented by an agent, which I don't recommend that, but and they're going to have to hire an attorney. The attorney is going to then have to go to the court, and they're going to have to make sure that any parties that could have rights to the property from an ownership standpoint, or potentially a mortgage lien standpoint,
Mhm.
they're going to have to make sure that they're properly served. The court sends out notifications, due process, and they will send out to the parties that could have rights, and they'll say, party XYZ, you have until such and such a reasonable date to get back with us if you feel you have rights to the property. I mean, I'm doing a fifth grade.
It's
'Cause
basically public notice is what it
right,
is. It's similar
correct.
to
Yeah,
like any probate situation.
yeah. And as you and I always say, I'm not a licensed realtor and you and I aren't attorneys, right? So I'm really dumbing this down.
Right.
I always say I'm smart, but the girls in the office are even smarter than me because they do the heavy lifting on a day-to-day basis and are knee deep into the files.
Right.
So once
And not
that
and not
happens,
every and just a little caveat here
yeah,
too, is not every quiet title is gonna be the same. There
well,
it could be totally like
no, it could be different.
exactly. So just because we're talking like this, the primary basis, the foundation of this is relatively the same on how the process usually goes, but it could go longer, shorter. You could need a little bit more footwork that you need to do, that type
Right.
of thing. It could cost a bit more money, like those, but
I
we're
think
going
the average price is
foundation.
about 2 grand when it comes to I just was talking to somebody about that last week actually. But roughly it's going to cost 2 grand. I mean, give or take, right? Everything's give or take, but that's across the board. So,
So my situation with my seller, it was crazy. And this frustrates me a bit too because he's had it in his family for so long. You would think there would be a statute of limitation that needs to be met, right? Like you would think like because he's paid on it for 75 years that he just automatically gets it, right? But that's not the case. So what it had transpired was there was a parcel of his property that had the original owner on it. And when
was it 5 feet or 10
it
feet?
was 38 feet, it
Oh,
was
38 feet. Okay. I'm confusing
it
another one. Yeah.
yeah, it was to the east of the garage. Like, and you could probably only put maybe a garden in there. Like that wasn't very big, but it was added onto the property when they first bought the property back in 1940, because they had to run a sewer through that, and so that's why it was purchased. Well, back in those days, the paperwork wasn't really done well. I'll put it that way, and so somebody didn't add that piece to it properly. So they didn't add that 38 feet
They
of
didn't need
property
it. Right.
to the legal description, which is really
Okay.
all it was. It's adding it to the legal description, right? So
Mhm.
there was a break in chain, there was a break in title, right? And so we basically and again, this goes back to pre-title. I believe I did order pre-title on it, and we were still in the process of trying to get a buyer. But regardless, I didn't fully understand the entire process of quiet title ahead of time, and quiet title for us took about 4 months, and
Okay.
that is a long time, and it did
Yeah.
cost my client, about just over $3,000
Okay.
to get that done.
Mhm.
But he did have to hire a lawyer.
Mhm.
He that lawyer did have to put out public notice 3 consecutive times, that's by law, and then, to see if that anybody from his family was going to come and say, "Hey, I want
Right.
that 38 feet," right? Like, because
Right.
that's technically theirs,
Right.
even though
Yep.
my seller has paid on it for 70 years, 75 years, it's technically still in this person's name. So,
Mhm.
anyways, long story short, the piece that I really want people to understand, and this is where it kind of got sticky, and the part we learned is that after the judgment is done doesn't mean you get to automatically close. There's a 21-day waiting period. It was a what is it called? A 21-day
Oh,
I can't think of the name of
completely
it.
blanking on it right now.
Yeah, but basically you have to wait 21 days to make sure that
There's a
nobody comes.
statute and there's an appeal. There's a
Oh,
21
yeah,
day appeal
21-day
period.
appeal period. That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yep.
And so you have to wait the 21 days before you can close. So here we are thinking like we're going to close, like no
Yeah.
problem. And we
Right.
had to wait another 21 days after the judgment from the judge said, "Here, seller, here is your judgment. That's your property now."
Yeah.
The legal
And that
description.
it can be super frustrating, but it's state law that the statutes out there that would allow any potential people to have ownership to come out and appeal in that 21 days. So it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
There are times that that 21-day period can be waived. But that's where my head underwriter, who has 40 years experience in the business, gets involved with our head counsel and will approve that. So,
But
um,
don't count on it. Just
yeah,
go
don't.
in with the mentality
Yeah,
that
and just like with real estate, it's if it was your buyer, or if it was, say, I was the real estate agent and it's my buyer, there are, just like there's real estate agents that we all know, any industry, it doesn't even matter our industry, kind of the right way and the wrong way to do things, or shortcuts.
yeah,
Like, I mean, and just because a shortcut can be done doesn't mean it should be done, because the buyer potentially is inheriting that issue. I know with the only investment property my family ever purchased was in New Haven, and it was somebody very similar to your situation, Sheila, that had owned the property for years and years and passed it down. There was a brick, and it's just like the one that, I mean, this was pre-COVID, but a break in the chain of title deeds, and they couldn't connect the dots between the ownership. And again, had to hire an attorney. And it's just interesting that the one investment property, just it's the way of things. The cookie crumbles sometimes.
right.
That.
But
Mm-hmm.
what the real crux of this is, make sure that you have enough time frame. And again, we had a buyer, and thankfully the buyer stuck with us. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's the biggest thing on
Yeah.
this is you most times aren't going to find people that are going to stick with you, because most people want to get in their house. Thankfully, the buyer on this deal stuck with us. Again, the agent stuck with us. And and the reason, this is the other part of this. The reason they stuck with us is because I was open and honest and transparent. I just, my biggest thing is customer service. I need to communicate to you every part of this deal, because I need you to be okay with it. I need you to, you need to know every part of it.
Mm.
Um, so, and because I was doing that, and he said that to me, because you have kept me up on everything, I totally trust everything that you're saying, and I
Right.
know that you're being honest and transparent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was amazing. So any closing thoughts on our title discussion that you want people to know? I'm going to share your webpage here in a second, but anything that
I
you
think,
want?
what I had told you when we talked is that you had two deals back to back that, like, somebody could be in the business 30 years and only run into a quiet title or a tax title, which was something that was at tax foreclosure. We'll get into that another day. Back to back. And those are rare, right? So you did get thrown into the deep end super quickly on those. And I think, like, calling, asking the questions, you took the time to really understand it. And I think for the agents out there that haven't dealt with any hairy deals, building the relationship with your title partner, and for sellers that are out there thinking that they want to close without a real estate agent, this is this is just one of the 90 different reasons why real estate agents are so important in the transactions. I mean, you put hours of phone calls into understanding and representing that seller. And I work with a lot of amazing real estate agents out there, but I think that the general public doesn't understand the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that you guys put behind the scenes. It's not parties on school nights.
No. And
With,
prior to
so
me being in real estate, I never knew that, like I had this thought in my head of what I thought a real estate agent was, and it is not even close.
yeah,
There's so much work that needs to be done, and we do it for free because we don't get paid until we get to the closing table.
right,
So
right.
we're really working in the best interest
Yeah.
of our clients when we're working, because we're working for free. We want to get
And
to
it
that
goes,
green.
yeah, and it goes to the statement that we all say, but who you work with really matters.
It does.
And that, I mean, I think that that if you call me and text me, I'm going to pick up the phone. And if I can't pick up the phone, I'm going to say, "Hey, I'm tied up," right? But that I think and I'm not special in that regards. I think I'm awesome at that, but I think there's other people in the industry that have that same passion for their
Yes.
clients. But if
Yes.
you're not working with somebody that has that passion, that walks the walk and talks the talk, you need to interview till you have that comfort level.
Exactly. Don't just stick with who you have and think it's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Like, if you happen upon this video and you're just not comfortable with certain situations that you're in, you can always ask questions of people. So make sure that you are reaching out and interviewing title people, interviewing real estate agents, having
Lenders, I mean, that
yeah,
goes for everything, right?
yeah. And
Inspection companies.
I've been saying this a lot lately. Our biggest failure is education.
Oh,
We
100%.
we are not educating ourselves. We're not educating the next generation to really understand how things work and how we need to get things done. So, um, as a seller or as a buyer, you should really be educating yourself, watching videos, talking with agents, talking with lenders, talking with title people, and really
And
getting
if
educated.
and if you are watching this, we've got attorneys that Sheila and I can refer to you, that are wonderful, and this is their specialty since it's not something that we can do when it comes to quiet title. So,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
So I'm gonna just give you a quick plug right now. So Kathy, Sleboda, yourtitlegirl.info. Please go check her out. Reach out to her if you have questions about title, if you are thinking about doing an event of education. Kathy loves to help other people educate other people. She does host a lot of amazing events with other sponsors to help agents. So
Yep.
just make sure that you're going and checking out those
Yeah.
things. So
And if you haven't had a cup of coffee yet or a 6-minute phone call with me about, why you should be using me or thinking about using me, I shoot me a text, give me a call. Again, just like Sheila, I'm out here to earn the business and your trust. So
amen. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Sheila. I'm with REMAX First, and I'm a homeschool mom. I love tech and, just all those fun things. So, anyways,
thank
all
you
right,
for having
Kathy.
me.
I loved it. I loved it. You did amazing, and thank you so much. We'll see you next time on our Title Tuesday talks, and we'll see you soon.